I have lost count.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's race from Kansas Speedway out here tonight. The Wizards of Speed 200 for the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network and the Tuesday Night Thunder Championship Truck Series as we make our way to race number 11 of 23 of our 2025 Season 2 schedule out here this evening. We got a stacked house out here this evening. We have 34 drivers and possibly a 35th on his way, making their way out to this mile and a half out in the virtual heartland of America. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday evening as we continue to make our way through this schedule out here this evening. The next stop at Kansas Speedway as we take a look right now at some of the drivers that are currently out on track. Ed Jurgen currently out on track right now. Ed currently 5th on the board through his practice times. Ed's run over 80 laps out here in practice. Arie Heinzman. Arie is usually my co-host up here in the booth, but tonight Arie is in the driver's seat, and Arie Heinzman, driver the number 28 Toyota Tundra, out here tonight, looks to pick up another win in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. I know Arie and I, we spoke last time we saw Arie on track. She ran it, I want to say it was Nashville, and came up a little bit short at Nashville, and I think Arie's was a little bit disappointed in that finish out there, so we'll see what Arie's able to do out here this evening. Always a favorite contender when we see that 28 out on track. Race information for this evening: we have 134 laps to work through in front of us. 134 laps. Our stages tonight are lap number 30 and 57, with the fuel run looking like it's going to be somewhere between 32 and 35 laps of fuel. But I have heard a whole lot of drivers talking about how these trucks are getting tight as this practice session goes along and the shadows get a little bit longer out here. Heard some very concerned issues about tires out here tonight. One driver ran 20 laps of practice, and he had a 68% wear on his right front tire. So that's pretty significant wear for 20 laps. So we're going to see, that's going to be a storyline that we have to follow all evening long out here tonight as these drivers enter into their final 2 minutes of open practice before we go green flag racing out here tonight. We got a poll up in our YouTube chat box. Who do you think's going to win out here tonight? Will it be one of the series favorites, Arie Heinzman, Greg Mitchell, or Cody Gibson, taking the checkered flag out here tonight? Or will it be the field? Will you take the house? And who gets to Barney the flag man here first at the end of 134 laps? Put your votes in there. Let me know who you're rooting for, who you want to see do well out here this evening, and we'll do our best to get a word with them at some point throughout tonight's race. But field has just about a minute remaining out here in practice. We're going to go ahead, we're going to step away for just a minute, do the pre-race ceremonies, and we'll be back for your full 5-minute qualifying. All right, back here as practice ends. Greg Mitchell, fastest in practice out here this evening. See what Greg is able to do throughout the race here tonight. Greg comes into tonight's race as the current points leader. As we see some drivers starting to line up on the edge of pit road right now. Take a look. Let's follow around Mr. Sherman, driver of the number 3 truck, that Toyota Tundra. Bad couple of weeks, the past couple of weeks for Corey. See if he's able to turn his luck around out here this evening and try to improve on his recent finishing positions out here. Corey comes in here tonight 23rd in points outside of both the playoffs and the wild card, so Corey needs to start putting some good runs together. Currently, it looks like he's probably about 15 points below wild card eligibility, but Corey Sherman first on track out here as we start our qualifying. Take a look at the line that he runs down here. And you hear the throttle inputs that he has down there in turns 3 and 4 for the first time. We'll take a listen down here in turn 1 as well. Down into turn 3, he's going to be pretty much flat as he comes along, and see if he's able to manage his exit there. First time on the board for the Shermanator. Where does he come across? Going to be good enough for 7th on the board. Brad Holmes currently your pole sitter as we run along out here. Matt Semple finishing up his second lap out here tonight. Currently 4th on the board as he gets knocked down to 5th as rookie Dwayne Young in that number 48 comes through and takes the top 5 starting spot provisionally out here as we have about 2.5 minutes remaining out here in practice. Second lap for Mr. Semple. Going to be a little bit slower. He's going to hold 5th on the board. Larry Bell in the 05 makes his way out currently 20th on the board. Not the first lap that he wanted to see. We'll see if he's able to improve on his second lap here for Larry. Down onto the apron using every inch of racetrack out here. Good enough to pick up to 12, so that's a pretty solid pickup for Larry Bell. Other drivers finishing up their laps. Andrew Caldwell, he's going to be coming out of turn number 4. See what Andrew is able to do. 29th on his first lap for the 46. Lap number 2 moves him up to 17th on the board. And, well, we've got Arie Heinzman out here. I was talking about her in the pre-race, saying, you know, anytime you see this 28 truck out on track, you better be aware. And the field is put on notice anytime we see Heinzman make her way out here in the return to the truck. The all-time wins leader in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. 3rd on the board, first time by for Arie in that 28 machine. See what she's able to do. Down here into turn number 3. And work lap number 2. Second time by for the 28, going to hold steady in 3rd. As a couple of cars still remaining out on track. Cody Gibson out on track right now. Lee Campbell still out on track. Jared Anderson. Jaden Wicks just finished his 2 qualifying laps. Jaden comes across the line in 9th as they stand right now. Jared Anderson had a great run last week at Echo Park Speedway, where I believe Jared finished, I want to say it was 4th or 5th. Had a great run for that number 5 Chevy Silverado. Going to move up to the 8th place position. And Cody Gibson is put down a heater on his first lap. Cody Gibson, first lap, 2nd on the board behind Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes, still the provisional pole sitter with about 40 seconds remaining out here in practice. The last car to make an attempt in qualifying. 1/1000th of a second was the difference between first and second. See if Cody can pick up and steal the pole away from Brad Holmes. Second place gonna be what Cody Gibson gets, and that would tell me that Brad Holmes will be the provisional pole sitter out here this evening for tonight's 134 lap event, as we get set to make our way to the actual race as we see the checkered flag fall over the qualifying session. And it is about time that we go racing here once again on a Tuesday night. Taking a look at your qualifying order out here tonight. Brad Holmes gets the pole out here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Cody Gibson starts up on the front row. Ed Jurgen, Arie Heinzman, Dwayne Young round out the top 5, followed by Gary Bowman, Matthew Semple, Jared Anderson, Nathan Dufton. Carl Cantonis, another series rookie, comes out here and gets a solid top 10 qualifying position. Out here tonight, the driver from Coastline Racing. Jaden Wicks in the 0-2 out of Friggy Diggy Racing, going to be starting 11th on the board, followed by Logan Spencer. Paxton Frith starts 13th out here. Greg Mitchell, the series points leader, with an uncharacteristically low qualifying effort out here tonight, starts 14th on the board, right in front of Dave Gainforth, followed by Leroy Koblenz. Cory Sherman, and then number 3 driver out of New York, Larry Bell. Mike Stiverson did make his way into the field out here, so the driver, the number 20, starts 19th on the board, followed by last week's winner, Chris Mackey. Starting 21st on the board is Mr. Phil Van Vliet, the lone Dutchman himself out of TNA Motorsports, 2/10 off of the pole out here tonight. Phillips starts 21st on the board, followed by Andrew Caldwell. Brian Dorsey, Eric Anderson, the season opener winner, comes in here 9th in points. He's kind of on the bubble. Need to make sure that we're holding those points. Brad Collins starts 25th out here tonight, followed by Amanda Sherman in 26th. Tanner Marr, Andy Kork, Jackie Brannon, and Theodore Todorov are international driver from Bulgaria. And rounding out the field of 35 drivers out here for the stacked house out here tonight is Rick Thompson out of Speed Mafia Motorsports, Jason Raymond, Steven Music, Lee Campbell, and Casey Tomlinson, the singular driver, electing not to take a qualifying time out here tonight as the field gets ready to roll off a pit road here. We got the entire grid read off before they even rolled off. But let's get ready to go racing out here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday evening. Thanks for spending it with us as we get set to do 134 laps of racing out here this evening from the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Always a great time. These drivers always put on such a phenomenal show. And Brad Holmes and Cody Gibson going to be bringing us to the action here in about 45 seconds, and we're going to be off and running. Again, our stages out here tonight are 30 and 57 with fuel, about 32 to 35 laps of fuel. So we expect both stages not to be not to have fuel of a concern, but we are getting set to go racing once again here on a Tuesday night. We're gonna get ready to go. Barney's got that flag high up in the air, and he's gonna send us down on our way for the first time out here tonight from the Wizards at Speed 200 from Kansas Speedway. Lap 1 done and away, and they come across the line like they did last time on the pace lap. Brad Holmes leads lap number 1 by half a nose over Cody Gibson as they come down into turn number 1 here. See multiple lines already being formed. Arie Heinzman, that number 28, currently runs about 5th in the running order, running the outside line. Dwayne Young down up on the inside line, and Ed Jurgen kind of the meet in the middle there between 1st and 5th. But Cody Gibson, Brad Holmes, these drivers still fighting tooth and nail to take control of the race early out here this evening. Heard a lot of drivers say that the tires, they're going to get tight over the course of a run, about halfway through a run. So probably about 15, 16, 17 laps in, you're going to start to see a lot of drivers really start to push, and that's where a lot of drivers are concerned about as this race goes along and how they're going to manage their tires better than the next one here. But Brad Holmes is able to make the pass on Cody Gibson and take control of the race. One driver kind of already off pace. Rick Thompson back here. I think Rick may have had an issue on the opening laps out here. Let's take a look here real quick and see if we can't find out exactly what happened to Rick here before we get back to the action. He had an off-track excursion already. Let's try this. Maybe some connection issues for Rick Thompson early in this race out here, because every time we go to him, I'm not seeing him. So possibly some connection issues for the 76 of Rick Thompson to start tonight's race. He's still going to stay on the lead lap for the time being. He is currently about 27.5 seconds down, so possibly his goal is going to be to stay on the lead lap before the end of this stage. But the lead is kind of settled out up here. Cody Gibson did take the lead back from Brad Holmes, Ed Jurgen, Arie Heinzman, Jared Anderson, as they run already up 3 spots from his qualifying position out here. Some battles back in the pack right here. Jaden Wicks, Gary Bowman, Jared Anderson. These drivers all looking at each other saying, hey, I want to get up here and get some stage points. Matt Semple down on the inside of the 48 of Dwayne Young on the exit at turn number 4. Jaden Wicks going to drop down to the inside lane and try to give Matt Semple in that 16 a push down there to make a pass on the 48, and he is able to do so. Dwayne Young now losing a couple of spots here. Had a pretty good opening couple of laps here for the 48, but is now fallen back down to 7th and 8th place as he now falls into the clutches of Gary Bowman, not too far behind. This Hornet's Nest looking from about 5th place to 10th place right now as these drivers continue to work their way. They know it's a short first stage out here this evening, and they know that stage points are on the line and are at a premium out here this evening. As we start to think about the playoffs starting in just a couple of weeks' time, not that very far off. We're going to be starting the playoffs in December 16th. It's going to be our last regular season race at Talladega Super Speedway. So you want to talk about the great unknown, and the points meaning more now than ever before. Drivers trying to set themselves up to be in position here, as there's going to be contact there between the 48 and the 5 at the start finish line. Gary Bowman's got a good bird's eye view of it right behind these two drivers. Gary says, hey, you know, you guys go and bang each other up, and I'm going to come down and take a spot away from Jared Anderson, move Gary Bowman for driver number 8 up to position number 8 out here this evening, working lap number 10 of 134 of tonight's event. We see Jaden Wicks still battling Ed Jurgen up there. Matt Semple has advanced his way up into a top 5 running position out here this evening. Arie Heinzman currently runs in 3rd. Brad Holmes, the pole sitter out here tonight, runs in 2nd, followed by Cody Gibson, the current race leader. More battles happening right behind this group of drivers back here. Greg Mitchell, the series points leader, comes into tonight, started 14th on the board, only up to 13th, so not exactly the qualifying effort that Greg wanted to have for that number 55. We'll see what Greg does with his tires. Anytime we come to a mile and a half or a tire track, Greg is one to watch, as he's running right now in front of Corey Sherman. Is that Lee Campbell right behind? No, excuse me, that is Paxton Frith, series newcomer in the number 7 Ford F-150. Ford Paxton Frith currently runs in 15th place, but as we see battles all out over the speedway, Corey Sherman gets a little bit loose on the exit of turn number 2. Possibly had some contact with the outside retaining wall. Corey's going to take a look down underneath the 47 of Nathan Dufton. Nathan Dufton going to slot right back in behind the 3 of Corey Sherman. oh so close battles right here. Taking a look out the rear view mirror of Nathan Duffin, is there's going to be contact between him and the 7 of Paxton Frith. They're going to be 3 wide on the exit there. Mike Stiverson thinks about putting it 4 wide. Everybody's going to carry on their way. Oh, and more contact. Who is Dave Gainforth and Paxton Frith just had an issue. Live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Let's see. Paxton Frith may be down on pit road here, trying to find. We'll take a look and see if this is the right one here. That is not. Just trying to find. Perhaps this one here. Yeah, all right. So here we've got Dave Gainforth down on the inside line. We stay green flag racing through all of this. But Dave Gainforth down on the inside line, going to slide up maybe just a little bit against the left rear quarter panel of the number 7 of Paxton Frith. And we'll do a quick little catch up on Paxton. Paxton currently on pit road, perhaps getting some damage fixed. Truck looks overall okay. Don't really see that much damage on Paxton, but halfway through the stage this time by, we see 15 laps to go. Cody Gibson still the race leader. Matt Semple, one of the biggest movers of the night so far, up to second place. Arie Heinzman runs in third and runs the boards back there, riding all the way up against the outside retaining wall. Following Matt Semple, Brad Holmes down 3 spots, currently runs in fourth, followed by Ed Jurgen, rounds out the top 5 as they run, as stage points are up for grabs here in about 14 more laps. Battle now for second place between Arie Heinzman and Matt Semple. We're going to keep a very close eye on this, but we're going to slot back just a little bit. Jaden Wicks and Gary Bowman, these drivers are fighting on the exit of turn number 2. Jared Anderson also up in this mix as well as they make their way down the backstretch here into turn number 3. Jared Anderson trying to follow whichever line is going to move faster. And you can see Gary just trying to squeeze up in front of Jaden Wicks, and he is able to do so and make his way up. Now Jared Anderson trying to put the left left front fender on the right rear quarter panel of the 02 of that Chevy Silverado. Maybe a little bit of scrape at the wall there already. You can see some damage on the rear tail light of Jaden as they work their way down the backstretch here, working lap number 18 of 134 out here tonight. Arie Heinzman and Matt Semple, those drivers are still going neck and neck for second place. As they run right now, other drivers that are currently in a heavy battle, Carl Cantonis and Greg Mitchell. These drivers battling for 10th place out here tonight. So far in the final spot that will give stage points here in about 11 and a half laps. But the field kind of starting to spread out a little bit, at least up front. Logan Spencer back here currently runs in 13, takes a look down up underneath. Is that Phillip down there in the 89, making their way through as they come across the stripe. These drivers are, giving it the beans out here tonight. They certainly are. Mike Stiverson currently rounds out the top 15. Mike wasn't even sure if he was going to make tonight's race. Got stuck at work, but did make it just in time to qualify in the 19th place. Jason Raymond had a pretty bad qualifying effort out here tonight. Biggest mover of the night so far, up 16 spots on speed. Through stage number 1 is Jason Raymond. We'll keep an eye on Jason Raymond if he can put himself in a pretty good position over the next stage or so. We'll see what he has available to give the field as this race goes along out here this evening. Battles between Matt Semple and Arie Heinzman has kind of settled out just a little bit. Matt Semple has opened up about a 3, maybe a 4 truck length lead over Arie Heinzman for second place. Cody Gibson still your race leader out here this evening. Sliding a little bit back further in the field out here, Chris Mackey, winner last week at Echo Park Speedway at the Super Speedway of down in Atlanta, Georgia. Chris got his first win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League and currently runs 21st out here tonight. Chris was a little, as we got a full course yellow out here, something happened out here. See Dave Gainforth lighten up, possibly issues for the 101. We will take a quick look. Now, this is not going to be the stage. Drivers will be going back green flag racing for the stage here. Let's take a look and see if we can't find maybe what happened for Dave. Oh, teammates Dave Gainforth and Leroy Koblenz on the exit of turn number 4 get together here. We're gonna have to back this up. We'll take a better angle of this. But teammates out of the Graybeard Motorsports camp get together on the exit of turn number 4, and heavy damage to both of them. That's going to be a hefty check for the accountant over there at Graybeard Motorsports. But all right, let's take a better look here as we try to slow down just a little bit. On the exit of turn number 4, Dave Gainforth in that yellow Toyota Tundra on the exit of turn number 4. Does he get loose, or does Leroy comes up, or is it kind of a combination? There's a little bit of separation between those two at the point of contact, but left front meet right rear, and that's never how you want the night to go along out here. So now this is interesting. We were talking about tires. We're going to see if we can't get another replay here after pit stops of that incident between Dave and Leroy, but see if anybody decides to come down pit road. Looks like Jared Anderson possibly coming down pit road. Jared Anderson, Logan Spencer, a couple of drivers. Looks like maybe just 2 drivers. Andrew Caldwell's also coming down pit road as well. All right, so probably better that Cody Gibson saw that than what he wanted to than seeing other cars come down. All right, let's take one more look at this here, and we'll take a ride on board here with Dave Gainforth, and you can just see the contact right there, and well, Leroy's going to go head first into the wall, and that is never what you want to see happen, especially between teammates. Leroy Koblenz still on pit road with some heavy damage. Dave Gainforth parked right up in front of him. So maybe they can share some coffee and tea while they're waiting for their trucks to get fixed down there. But you could see some significant damage on the right side of Leroy's truck. Also, his nose kind of pushed in as well. But the field's about to get ready to double up, as I expect to see the lights go off the pace car this time by to give us 1 lap to go to the stage. As we're going to be beginning lap number 25 here. Yeah, so we're going to have just a little 4 or 5 lap shootout to the stage ending caution out here. So a fun little restack, repack. Again, a couple of drivers did come down onto pit road that last time by. Jared Anderson, Andrew Caldwell, Logan Spencer, Theodore Todorov, and then drivers with damage, Dave Gainforth and Leroy Koblenz, came down onto pit road as well. All right, field's getting ready to go back. Green flag racing once again. Cody Gibson, Matt Semple, going to bring us into the restart zone. Green flag back out. Give us 4 laps to go in the stage as Matt Semple up on the outside lane. He may have missed a gear up there. He's going to lose multiple spots. And he's already back down to 5th. Make it 6th in the running order. as they come along. But Cody Gibson under fire from Arie Heinzman in that number 28 Toyota Tundra. Driver we told you to keep an eye on. Don't count out this number 28 anytime you see it on track. 4 laps to go on the stage, trying to take the stage win away from Cody Gibson. But other drivers still looking for stage points. Matt Semple back here, he's found his way back into 7th after that restart issue. Runs right in front of Jaden Wicks. Greg Mitchell. Greg currently up in the top 10 running order, as Corey Sherman also up 7 spots. And Jason Raymond, we were talking about him before, he was up 16 spots at that time, now up 21 spots, looking to get stage points in stage number 1 out here tonight in that number 49 Chevy Silverado, as he's going to make a pass on Corey Sherman at the start finish line, as we see 2 laps to go in the stage. Battle for stage points. This is where it all pays out here in 2 laps, and this could be the difference between making the playoffs and sitting on the sidelines through the Scrambler Series beginning in just a couple of weeks. Carl Cantonis and Corey Sherman going to have a little bit of contact on the exit of turn number 2. They're all going to come off clean and green and make their way through. But the field of 35 drivers being led right now by Cody Gibson and Arie Heinzman has settled out just a little bit, about a 4/10 of a second lead between those 2 drivers up front. So all eyes back here as we take a look at Corey Sherman. Continues to slide backwards just a little bit. I think he's happy that this stage is going to be ending here in just a lap or so, because he is going in the wrong direction here. As Jared Anderson, one of the drivers who pit on this most recent caution, is up to 11th. So huge gains for Jared Anderson, as I expect to see these drivers that pit on the on the caution last time stay out and potentially flip the stage here. But Cody Gibson is the stage winner for stage number 1. Field continues to make their way down the backstretch underneath the first stage caution of tonight. 1 incident caution involving Dave Gainforth and Leroy Koblenz about 5 or 6 laps ago. And then 1 stage caution brings us to 2 total cautions through tonight's race so far. Cody Gibson wins stage number 1. Arie Heinzman in position number 2, followed by Brad Holmes. Dwayne Young, Ed Jurgen is your top 5 as they enter pit road. Everybody makes their way down onto pit road, and we expect to see 4 tires up, 4 tires down for the majority of the field, as a couple of drivers that did stay out on the last caution, or that came in to pit on the last caution. Andrew Caldwell takes the race lead. He's going to have about 5 lap older tires, but we will see how that works out for Andrew out there to give him some track position. Looks like Arie Heinzman, maybe. Not quite sure who won that race off of pit road, but it's going to be close. We'll take a look and see how that cycles out here. But one driver in particular that I was looking forward to talking to after that first stage is the driver, the number 49, Jason Raymond, up 24 spots in the first stage there. Jason, how's your night going?
Going pretty good. You know, I kind of wanted to save tires early, but kind of threw that out the window after my poor qualifying lap, and you know, started 30th and kind of started pushing, and I felt like I still had some decent race pace there. I think that caution definitely helped cool the tires down a little bit, and was able to jump up a few more spots. And I know it's only 1 point, but that one stage point means a lot. So.
Well, that could be the difference between making the playoffs and sitting on the side for the Scramble Series here in a couple of weeks. Now that you've gained a whole bunch in stage number 1, you're doubling up here. You're going to be starting on the outside of Gary Bowman. Do you play this any differently, maybe a little bit more conservatively for stage number 2, a little bit shorter of a stage?
I don't know. I feel like, with how I was driving last stage, I feel like I still did pretty good. I felt like, I didn't really burn it up too bad. So I might just stick to what I was doing in stage 1 and see what happens here.
Hey, if it's working, it's working. All right, Jason. Well, hey, I'm going to kick you back down, let you go get ready to begin stage number 2. Great work in stage number 1.
Appreciate it.
All right, kicking Jason down there. Biggest mover of the race so far is the driver in the number 49, but one driver stayed out, and that is Andrew Caldwell. Andrew going to be starting on the front row for this restart. We'll get it right one of these times. Andrew Caldwell to the inside, Arie Heinzman on the outside. Now, Andrew has a little bit of an advantage here because as the race leader, Andrew controls when this race restarts. So we will see when Andrew decides to go in the restart box, and Cody Gibson did lose that spot to Arie Heinzman on pit road. So now a little bit of dirty air for that one who's seen a lot of clean air throughout the race, but we are about set to go green flag racing once again. Yes, send us on our way. Andrew Caldwell comes up through the gears, 4 gears strong at the start finish line. Going to slide up in front of the 28 crossover down here on the inside. They just flipped lines. Arie Heinzman takes the race lead and sees clean air for the first time this evening, and that number 28 Toyota Tundra makes her way to the race lead, but Cody Gibson not giving up just yet. Cody says, hey, I am right here and ready to pounce if you have any sort of issues. Andrew Caldwell slots back into 4th place. Logan Spencer currently rounds out the top 5 as they run out here tonight. A couple of all those other drivers that came down on pit road on lap 25 or so, all those other drivers came down and perhaps used a second set of tires, or maybe just got fuel on this stage, but was kind of expecting to see them stay out and try to get some track position, as we saw Andrew Caldwell did, but that was not the case for the other drivers. But Arie Heinzman leads this lap down here in the Wizards of Speed 200 as Cody Gibson possibly takes a look down onto the outside, making now to the inside of that 28 machine. These drivers are going to be putting on a show for us all night long as these guys go along here. Now going to be side by side down the backstretch. Arie's going to be able to have just enough momentum to keep the fenders clear of that number 1. And once again, we see Arie Heinzman leads that lap out here. Andrew Caldwell currently under fire from the clutches of Gary Bowman, Logan Spencer, Jaden Wicks, and these drivers back here. And we were talking about tires. We were talking about how important tires are out here tonight, and I think Andrew is seeing that now, as he has about 5-6 lap older tires, but certainly feeling the effects of it as he falls down to 6th place on the running order right now. Other drivers out here tonight continuing to try to march their way forward. Jason Raymond, Dwayne Young, Matt Semple, all these drivers right behind this crew. They're going to be 2, maybe 3 wide as they enter into turn number 3 and turn number 1, right in front of Carl Cantonis, and Mike Stiverson rounds out the field, the top 15 kind of as they run. Maybe a little bit of a trying to find Dwayne there. Yeah, there. Maybe a little bit of sideways there on the backstretch between the 48 and the 16. On board here with Dwayne in that number 48. Matt's trying to take a look to the outside. He's going to get just so close to the right rear quarter panel, as we've got a battle now for the race lead. Cody Gibson has gotten to the outside of Arie Heinzman. Has to give it up on the entry at turn number 3. But that's kind of kept Brad Holmes in the conversation out here right now. Brad Holmes currently runs in 3rd and closing. Take a look at the last lap times for these drivers. Last time by, as these 2 drivers up front continue to battle for the lead. Brad was about 4/10 faster last time by than Cody Gibson and Arie Heinzman. And Ed Jurgen, actually one of the fastest trucks out on track right now, running in 4th. As we're working lap number 41, 17 laps to go in the stage. These drivers know that they need to see lap number 57 before the second batch of stage points are awarded out here this evening. But Arie Heinzman leads, Brad Holmes in 3rd, Cody Gibson all up on the back bumper of that Barks root beer truck. And now Cody's going to be able to put a left front quarter panel to the right side of that 28 of Miss Heinzman as they come through turns 3 and 4. And Brad Holmes not going away. Brad is kind of playing snake in the grass here in this battle for the lead. Every time Cody Gibson takes a look, Brad creeps just a little bit closer, as possibly issues for Tanner Marr. I see issues for yellow flag is out. I saw Tanner Marr highlight up, so let's take a look here. All right, so thinking that this is probably where the caution is going to be located here, is there's contact between the 89 and the 4. Philip Van Vliet and Tanner Marr make contact on the tri-oval down there. And Philip is going to go for a ride. Multiple cars involved. Theodore Todorov involved. Rick Thompson looks like he barely gets through. Amanda Sherman barely gets through. Multiple cars. Take a look at any sort of damage there. You could see significant damage on the rear spoiler of Philip. Let's take another look at that here. And we'll try to take a better look here as Tanner's coming up off the apron. Philip's kind of just running his line down there. Difficult position for Philip and Tanner to be in at that moment in time. Let's see if we can't find Amanda Sherman. So now clicking on board here with Amanda. She sees a whole lot of smoke up in front of her. She's going to start to slow that truck down, and does she get through it? See, is that Brad Collins right in front? Yeah, Brad gets through. Or no, excuse me, that's Chris Mackey. Rick Thompson gets through, so Theodore Todorov goes around. Brian Dorsey comes through. So issues in the middle of stage number 2 for some of these drivers. But we are currently working. Let's call this lap number 44 here. So we're going to see about a 12-lap run to the stage, assuming that we get the lights off next time by and we go green flag racing the next time. Couple of drivers on pit road from that incident. Bill Van Vliet still on pit road. Where is Tanner Marr out of that incident? Here's Tanner right there. Don't see a whole lot of damage, but the contact was made on the right side, so this isn't telling the full story here. If we see any damage, we would expect it to be up on the right front of Tanner Marr. Let's take a look at Theodore as well. Theodore looks like he is going to be pretty okay out of that. Maybe just a bruised set of tires for that number 24 F-150. But looks like Phil Van Vliet going to be the big loser on that most recent caution. But field's getting ready to line up here and double up to give us the 1 lap to go before we go green flag racing once again. Phil Van Vliet still sitting down on pit road from that most recent contact incident between the 4 and the 89. So possibly night may be done for Philip, as he's already been down there for 2 minutes and counting. But we are about to go racing once again here. Field's going to come into the very capable hands of Arie Heinzman and Cody Gibson as they bring us to the green flag here on the front stretch for the Wizards of Speed 200. Green flag is back out. Barney, wave that flag. Send us on our way. Arie Heinzman leads over Brad Holmes right now, takes second place. From Cody Gibson, Gary Bowman slots into third as they go down here into turn number 1 on the north end of the Speedway. I tell you what, you give that number 28 some clean air, and well, she's dangerous. So we'll see if she does anything kind of fun here on the stage split. Being that stage points are not necessarily important to the number 28, not running for a championship in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. See if she tries to maintain control of this race and try to flip the stage. But Arie leads by about 1 car length lead over Brad Holmes right now. You got to go back to about 11th place in line before you find 2 wide racing. That's Jaden Wicks down on the inside of Andrew Caldwell. Brad Holmes not too far back from here. Greg Mitchell. Greg Greg started 14th on the board out here tonight. Hasn't really made his way forward. Don't believe he got stage points in stage number 1. Oh, issues. Dwayne Young in the wall. And also, who is that? That's, is that Logan Spencer, I want to say? All right, let's take a look here. We may need to take another look or two. All right, looks like we might be okay here. So Dwayne Young down on the inside lane, running behind Logan Spencer in that number 19 in that Canadian Maple Leaf flag right behind him. Is this where the issue happens? All right. Well, we should be in a good enough spot here to catch it. I believe the issue happens down here in turn number 1 between the 48 and the 19. We'll try again here, perhaps on the stage, but battle for the race lead. Brad Holmes takes a look down onto the inside of the number 28. But Brad Holmes trying to take the race lead away and lead his first lap of the evening. Ford driver of the 00 Ford F-150. Putting the heat on the back of that number 28 machine right now as these drivers make their way down into turn number 1. Cody Gibson has slotted back into third, about 0.3 of a second off the race lead. 4th place, we talked to him at the end of stage number 1, is Jason Raymond. Biggest mover of the night, up 28 positions. He said, hey, if it was working in stage 1, why am I going to change anything? Currently up 28 positions and looking to get himself in a great spot for the beginning of stage number 3. But about 1.5 off of race leader is Brad Holmes right now. Last time by, Arie Heinzman was a little bit faster than Brad. You just see all these cars fanning out down the backstretch here. Other drivers that are currently involved in heavy battles, we're going to keep a very close eye on the race lead. But Mike Stiverson currently runs in 12th. Eric Anderson, a name we haven't said out here this evening so far, rounds out the Dirty Dozen in that 43. Again, season winner, or yes, season opener winner at Daytona back a couple of months ago. Took his opportunity at a super speedway to get the win number 1 of the season as Jared Anderson takes a look down onto the inside of Corey Sherman. But Eric having a great, oh my goodness, Eric is going to Eric, contact between him and, was that Jared Anderson? All right, let's take a look here. I don't know if this is going to be the correct one here. Where is Eric? All right. we were literally, I was in the middle of the sentence of saying a great run for the 43, but he has a great job of hanging on to that truck and not getting any more damage, and that 43 will continue its march on tonight, though probably not a very happy driver behind that wheel of that truck. But I tell you, when Eric goes back and hears that, he's going to say, don't talk about me anymore. Other drivers currently still involved in battles. That's where we were before all this happened. Jared Anderson takes a look down onto the inside of the 20 of Mike Stuyvesant. Mike Stuyvesant gets a little bit of help from teammate Greg Mitchell. Running in the rear view is that number 55 out here tonight. We were kind of starting to talk about that. Greg started 14th on the board out here tonight. Hasn't really moved up throughout the course of the evening's race so far, but stage about to come to a close here. And looks like Arie Heinzman going to sneak away with the stage win, barring anything crazy up front. Brad Holmes not giving it to her just yet. May have one opportunity for Brad Holmes down here in turn number 3. Does Brad have anything for that number 28? Not through 3 and 4, as we expect to see the lights illuminate yellow out here in just a moment. We got to wait on the 10th place truck to come across the line, and that's going to be Carl Cantonis, and there he is, and that is stage number 2. All right, field getting ready to come down pit road. And I tell you what here, in a minute, we're going to see if we can't grab stage 2 winner. We're going to let these drivers get on and off pit road here real quick. And, well, we'll see how this turns out down here. But stage number 2, done and away. 4 cautions so far, 2 for incidents, 2 for stages, as the field of 35 drivers makes their way down onto pit road. But Dwayne Young had a incident just a couple of laps ago. He is down on pit road with a severely damaged truck. See who wins the race off of pit road this time. Last time, Arie Heinzman won the race off of pit road over Cody Gibson. Arie Heinzman rolls out first, and it looks like Arie is going to maintain the race lead out here tonight. All right, I didn't know if she thought she could get away from us out here tonight, but Arie Heinzman, making your second start in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. It's a familiar sight when we see that number 28 up front. Arie, how's your evening going?
It's going pretty good now that I'm around Cody Gibson.
Yeah, we've been following the battles up front. You started 4th on the board out here tonight, and finally got some clean air on that truck. Now that you're beginning stage number 3 here, you're not going for a championship in this series this season. But you're a multi-time champion in the series. Do you race stage 3 maybe a little bit differently, knowing that you don't have to worry about points? It's all about the checkered flag tonight.
I was prepared to do that in the stages, particularly if the opportunity came up. We kind of saw an opportunity in stage 1. I didn't like how far it was from the end of the stage, so I decided not to flip it. But Now that we're in stage 3, I don't know that it'll come up as much, but it's definitely all eyes on the checkered flag.
All right, all eyes on the checkered flag. Real quick, how you feel about your chances?
I like them, but I'm going to have to watch out for that bright orange number 1.
All right, well, I'm going to kick you back down there. We're going to move in steps here, so bear with me. We're going to go there, and then there, and then I think that's the right room for Arie, but Arie Heinzman, usually my co-host, up here in the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, running her second race of the season out here tonight. Previously ran Nashville, finished, I want to say it was 4th or 5th with that number 28, and you know, told me very candidly she wasn't happy with that. She wants the checkered flag, and got an opportunity to do so here tonight at Kansas. Green flag back out. We see Arie Heinzman elect to take the outside lane here on the top side of Brad Holmes as Matt Semple goes around on the front stretch here. Issues for Semple. What happened to Matt? Possibly an issue with a shift. That would be the second time that we've seen Matt Semple have an issue on the restarts here. Let's take a closer look here. Does he get it tagged from the back possibly? Up through the gears, and no, just a missed shift, and that's going to send Matt down onto the infield. Luckily, no damage, at least cosmetically. Anytime you shift that car in the wrong direction, you're always concerned about damage to the motor, as now we've got a yellow, full course yellow, out on the track. Who is this one for? This one. Oh, this one might be Corey. Corey Sherman and Theodore Todorov lighten up. Oh my, let's take a look here and see real quick. Can't find out what happens to Corey. So where is Corey on my running list here? Alright, so Corey's on my running list here on the outside line, running that black and green truck. That's a tough one. Takes an early entry down into turn number 1. Let's take a better look at it here. I'm going to slow it down a step or two. Running in front of last week's winner, Chris Mackey, in that number 17. Now, Theodore's got somebody underneath him. Theodore's got Carl right below him. And again, just contact very similar to what we saw between Dave Gainforth and Leroy Koblenz on lap number 25 or so. And that is unfortunately going to junk the number 24 of Theodore. I'll be interested to see how Corey's truck looks here. You see a little bit of damage up there on the right front. Oh, there's more issues right behind it. I didn't realize that there was more issues going on. Amanda Sherman, Casey Tomlinson also involved. Eric Anderson barely gets by up on the top shelf of the Speedway. Does Logan get through? Logan does get through, but a pair of Shermans get involved in this recent incident. All right, so now that we know that there's more drivers involved, let's go on board with Amanda Sherman. This is the second time tonight that we're going to be going on board with Amanda through a caution. And she sees the wreck happen in front of her. Oh, and she's going to get right back into her husband Corey Sherman here. As I don't think she's going to get any help. Oh, maybe she does. Oh, she does get help. Dave Gainforth gets tagged from Casey Tomlinson right behind this. So kind of a 4-car incident after the fact. So I'd love to be in the Sherman household right now. Tell you what, another driver that we didn't even know if he was going to make the race out here tonight. That is Mike Stiverson in the number 20. Mike, you had messaged me about, I don't know, maybe about an hour and a half ago, and you said, I don't know if I'm going to be there tonight. You're now just outside the top 5 here on this most recent restart. How's your night going?
It's going okay. I mean, the first part of the race was trying to figure out how to race the race because I got 0 practice, and now that I feel a little comfortable, I've made it way up here. And if you look, Tom, the guy right next to me is the guy I'm fighting in the bracket, so.
Well, you know, it's Gary. I mean, you know, I'm sure he's a very understanding guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, Mike, all right, gonna let you go here, but you had a great run last week. Hopefully, have another great run out here to finish out tonight's race. Good luck in the rest of tonight.
Appreciate it, bub.
All right, that is Mr. Stuyvesant. Up 14 spots, second biggest mover of the night, right behind Jason Raymond, who he is right behind on track. Jason Raymond in that number 49, again, up 28 or 29 spots. So a great early run to this race for Jason Raymond. And Mike Stuyvesant not too far behind, starting 6th on the board. Next to Gary Bowman, but field's going to be led back to the green flag. This time Arie Heinzman elects to take the inside line. We saw Arie take the outside line last time by, but Barney's going to send us on our way once again. We interrupt those great camera shots to give you a battle for the race lead. Brad Holmes takes a look down on this most recent restart here, working lap number 67 of 134, as we have 67 laps to go out here tonight. Brad Holmes puts the heat on the back of Arie Heinzman, as Cody Gibson not too far behind, and Jason Raymond. I tell you what, Jason Raymond, if there was passing points out here tonight, Jason would leave tonight leading the points with as many trucks as he's passed. We're going to keep a close eye on this battle for the race lead and battle for second, third, and fourth. But you look at this mess back here, and you got Brian Dorsey involved with Jaden Wicks back here, Nathan Dufton, Carl Cantonis, Andrew Caldwell, Tanner Marr, all drivers up in this battle for about the I guess we'll call this about the 9th place running position here. It looks like Brad Holmes possibly takes another look underneath Arie Heinzman. Let's jump up here. Maybe not quite just yet, but not well within striking distance. One thing that I like about Brad Holmes right there is that Brad's running a little bit lower here. Let's go on board here with Cody. Brad's running a little bit lower than Arie Heinzman is in turns 1 and 2. You see him put those tires right up on that white line. Coming through the turns here. I don't want to say that Arie's playing a little bit of defense here, but maybe a little bit of vulnerability here. His caution is out once again for the 6th caution of the evening. And possibly issues for Andy Cork, Jackie Brannon. We're going to restack, repack, and try to figure out exactly what happened between those drivers. All right, so here's Andy Cork. Here's Chris Letts, Jackie Brannon, as he's affectionately known around here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, running on the outside lane. Oh, and there's issues between the 76 and the 09. That's really where it starts. Chris is really kind of just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Steven Music gets involved, possibly Jared Anderson. All right, let's take another look now that we've got a little bit more insight on this as to what may have happened here. Where is... So Rick Thompson here. All right, now we're going to have a better look at it here. We're going to slow this down just a little bit here. Does Steven Music and the 09 right in front of him come up? Or is everybody just kind of going for... Oh, that's a difficult one to call. I want to say that that's kind of just everybody going for the same spot at the same exact time. Eric Anderson gets a little bit of incidental contact through that. Let's take a ride on board here with Mr. Anderson and see what Eric saw. He's going to see the smoke start to appear. And he's going to get a little bit of left front damage on that truck and make his way through. But incident between the 76 and the 09 and other drivers with nowhere to go. Let's take a look and see what happens to Eric afterwards. He's going to keep it clean in front of Brad Collins, who's also making his way through as well. So one thing that I'm finding interesting here. Okay, so we've had a round of pit stops happen while we were taking a look at that most recent yellow flag review. We've had a round of pit stops happen here. There are 4 drivers that have stayed out, and that is the 4 leaders right now: Brad Holmes, Jaden Wicks, Brad Collins, and Jared Anderson. Those drivers did not pit on this most recent restart. Carl Cantonis did come down on pit road. I want to say Carl got 2 tires, as he's actually going to be coming back down a second time. So Arie Heinzman comes down onto pit road, gets 4 fresh tires. Cody Gibson comes down, gets 4 fresh tires. Brian Dorsey, great night out here so far for Mr. Dorsey in that number 9 Ford F-150 for Brian. Longtime competitor out here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and a Cyber Thunder Racing League champion in Brian, and always out here. We got to get Brian some sponsorship, though. He's been running an unsponsored truck for like 7 years. So, help Brian out. But, so we got 4 drivers that elected to stay on track. We saw Andrew Caldwell do this at the end of, I want to say it was stage number 1. We saw Andrew quickly slide back to about the 7th place running position. So, we'll see how this shakes out for these 4 drivers that stayed out on this most recent yellow flag here. This time by, the field is going to see 61 laps to go from the Wizards of Speed 200 out here at Kansas Speedway out here this evening. Brad Holmes going to be bringing us to the green flag. Jaden Wicks up on the outside. Jared Anderson takes 3rd place away from Brad Collins, and Cody Gibson rounds out the top 5. But don't count out these 2 drivers, the 1 and the 28. It's going to be a battle between the 1 and the 28 to see who's able to make their way through the traffic first and get the clean track in front of them. Cody Gibson has that advantage right now. Arie Heinzman's going to take a look down, possibly onto the inside of Brad Collins, and yes, she does, and she's going to be able to make that pass and bring Jason Raymond along. But Cody Gibson, 4 fresh tires, moving forward up to 3rd place after that first lap. Heinzman in the 28, not too far behind, right in tow, following every hole open by the number 1 truck, and trying to put some clean air back up on the... Oh, Mitchell goes around. Stuyvesant goes around Eric Anderson, possibly. Oh, and Mitchell is absolutely... I thought I saw engine smoke out of Greg. Perhaps not. I definitely saw some sort of smoke out of Greg, and you can see some damage on the rear of that truck. We'll take a look here at what precipitated this for Greg Mitchell and the number 55 and possibly others. All right, so they're coming out of turn number 2 here. Greg is down on the inside of Brad Collins. Does Brad get up into the outside wall? No, I don't think he does. Let's get a better look at this here. All right, let's take a better look here. See if Brad gets up into the outside wall. Greg was certainly running him close on the exit of turn number 2. Maybe a little bit there. Brad gets up into the outside wall and bounces down into the right rear quarter panel of the 55. I don't know. That's a hard one to say. But Greg Mitchell, at minimum, going to be losing a set of tires out here, plus a lot of downforce for the damage on the rear spoiler. Don't really see, at least at this point, any other drivers really being involved. Looks like a single car incident for the most part. All right, let's get back live here as a whole bunch of drivers are coming down on pit road right now. Brad Collins, Carl Cantonis, Logan Spencer, Eric Anderson, Greg Mitchell with the damage we expected to see on pit road. But that's going to put the race lead to Jaden Wicks, up 11 spots from his qualifying position in 11th out here tonight. Leads his first laps of the evening in his rookie campaign here in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. I tell you what, we're going to step away for just a minute. We're going to pay some bills around here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, back at it. Jaden Wicks, Cody Gibson going to be restarting on the front row as we complete our 7th caution out here tonight from Kansas Speedway. Jaden Wicks was able to hold on to his running position, did not stop on this most recent caution flag. Last pitted on lap number 59 for Jaden Wicks, but he's got a whole bunch of fresh Goodyear tires right behind him. Cody Gibson going to have about 11 lap better tires. Arie Heinzman has about 11 lap tires. Jared Anderson, the first car that pitted kind of in the middle of that sequence. But we are getting set to go racing. Once again, Jaden Wicks, Cody Gibson going to be bringing us to the green flag. Green flag is back out, up through the gearbox as we come, and they are off and running. Arie Heinzman already takes a look down to the inside of Jaden Wicks, and that's going to be a pass for the race lead between the 28 and the 02. Arie's going to make quick use of those 4 Goodyear tires, and Cody Gibson going to follow through. Maybe a little bit of right side contact between the 1 and the 02 as they enter down into turn number 3. Jaden Wicks lost 2 spots, possibly 3, as Jason Raymond now looks to take a current 3rd place running position. That's going to make 29 passes for Jason Raymond out here tonight from his qualifying position back in 32nd out here this evening. Incredible run through the first stages for Jason. Arie Heinzman, as we have seen so many times out here tonight, is being trailed closely by Cody Gibson. In 2nd place, Cody may actually take a look to the outside of number 28 here. This very well could come down between these 2 drivers at the end of tonight's race. This very well could come down to who has a better strategy on pit road. Cody Gibson on the inside of Arie Heinzman. That was a huge move down onto the inside lane there between the 1 and the 28, and Jason Raymond says, hey, do that 1 or 2 more times. That really helped me. So Jason Raymond, and now in a possible position to maybe think about taking it 3 wide. He's going to elect not to do that just yet. Arie Heinzman puts the power down up on the outside lane of the Speedway and tries to carry the momentum around, and well, it's still a race down the backstretch here between these 2 drivers, but don't go too far away, because Jason Raymond is right there in the potential spot to take advantage. Another driver who's moving up as we're still watching this battle up here for the race lead, because you can't take your eyes off of it. Mike Stuyvesant has made his way up into 4th, up 15 spots for that number 20 as well. So, but still side-by-side racing. See great racing between these 2 drivers, as maybe a little bit more contact being thrown down on the backstretch between the 28 and the 1. Got to keep the fenders clean here. Any sort of damage will certainly hurt you, but hey, just take a look at what Jason's got out of his windshield right now. He's got a view of the 1 and the 28, and Cody Gibson is just oh so not clear as they go down into turn number 1, and he might be clear on the exit of 2 here. He's going to be clear. Whether or not he clears himself, that's the question to be seen. He does. New race leader Cody Gibson in the 1, but oh my goodness. Arie Heinzman takes a look down onto the inside as there's going to be contact maybe between those two drivers. They're going to get out of it clean and green. Brian Dorsey having a great run through all of this. Brian Dorsey running solidly up in the top 5 as we can't take our eyes off of this battle for the race lead. 3-way battle for the lead between Jason Raymond, Arie Heinzman, Cody Gibson. They've got about a second over 4th place Brian Dorsey. And oh my goodness, these drivers up here are certainly putting on a show, and Cody Gibson now takes a look down to the inside with a block from the 28 into turn number 3. That's going to upset this little pack of 3 just a little bit for the first time in several laps. We see I can take a breath for the first time in several laps. So thank for that. Jason Raymond makes a pass on Cody Gibson. Cody got into the back of Arie on the backstretch there. And I think that kind of upset Cody's truck a little bit, and that allowed Jason Raymond now up 30 spots from his qualifying position to slot into position number 2. Again, let's not forget those 2 drivers that are running 2nd and 3rd right now are teammates. So we will see if they work together here as we have 84 laps to go this time by as Arie Heinzman continues to lead, working lap number 87. All right, sliding back here just a little bit, not to be forgotten about the battle for 4th place going on right now. Mike Stiverson, Gary Bowman, and Brian Dorsey. Brian Dorsey, what a great run that Brian's got going on out here this evening. That Ford F-150 going to lose a spot to Gary Bowman, but having a solid top 10, top 5 run going for Mr. Dorsey in that Ford F-150. Now Nathan Duffin's going to try to take a spot away from him, and yes, he does. But Mike Stiverson sets sail on 4th place and now sets his sights on Cody Gibson. Not too far in front of him, but Brian Dorsey still giving him the beans out here as he runs along. Out here, let's take a look at Brian's laps out here tonight. That truck's dancing around a little bit, especially on the entry there. I mean, I guess he's got is that Tanner directly to the side of him, so maybe some handling issues on the 9, but we got a great little 5-car battle here. This is going to be for, I want to say this is for the 5th place running position. 6th place running position. Nathan Dufton leads this pack over Tanner Marr, Brian Dorsey, Matt Semple, Brian Dorsey, and Brad Holmes is probably somewhere in that mix as well. While all this is happening, Arie Heinzman has opened up about a 3.5 tenth lead over 2nd place Cody Gibson, as we've got 3 wide down here on the entry to turn number 3. Tanner Marr, Monkey in the middle. Oh, this is going to get close on the corner exit here. Oh, there is a little bit of contact. They make their way through it. Matt Semple, Brad Holmes, Tanner Marr, Nathan Dufton. These drivers putting on a show out here tonight. Ed Jurgen says, hey, keep that door open for, another corner or so. But Nathan trying to carry on his way. But 3 wide racing all over out here this evening. Mike Stiverson has opened up a little bit of an advantage over 5th place, Gary Bowman, by about a half a second between 4th and 5th place. So a little bit of breathing room for Stiverson in that number 20 Toyota Tundra, as he tries to now catch Jason Raymond, who is he's actually been faster than the last couple of laps for Stiverson. So we'll keep an eye on those 2 drivers. But more battles happening directly behind this group out here. Carl Cantonis and last week's winner, again, Chris Mackey, currently runs in 15th place out here tonight, started 20th out on the board. Chris Mackey trying to protect the 15th place running position. They got Andrew Caldwell directly in front of them, who's putting the back bumper massage on Brad Collins right now. They're going to come down here into turn number 1. and be side by side between the 46 and the 67. 67? What? Chris Mackey tries to take a look down here halfway down the backstretch. Not going to be able to do it. We're going to go down here onto the south end of the Speedway, and we have battles all over. I want to take a quick jump up here real quick, see how this battle's brewing up here. Mike Stiverson, Gary Bowman. Mike has caught Jason Raymond here. Now he's going to be riding in some dirty air. What does, how much does this affect Mike's truck? That's going to be the question that these drivers need to answer here. But Jason Raymond, the driver out of Somers, Connecticut, currently protecting third place running position. I'm talking to Jason before tonight's race, and I said, you know, we've seen Cody get up there and get a win out of Five Kings Motorsports. We've seen Tanner Marr get up there and get a win. Last week we saw Chris Mackey get up there and get a win. I said, you know, I think this is maybe your week. And he says, I don't know, I'm just looking forward to North Wilkesboro. But he might be proving himself wrong out here tonight, currently running third. Arie Heinzman has opened up about a half a second lead over second place Cody Gibson. Looking at one of the closer battles on track right now between Stiverson and Jason Raymond, as this battle for third place is not going anywhere anytime soon. Gary Bowman directly behind the 20 of Mike Stiverson. These drivers continue to make their way around this mile-and-a-half circuit out here tonight. Last time we saw these drivers pit was 71. Well, for the majority of the field, a couple of drivers, Jaden Wicks, he came down on lap number 59. But for the majority of the field, last time we saw them pit was on lap number 71. We said that you could go about 30 to 33 laps on fuel out here tonight. A couple of cautions in between to kind of mix that up just a little bit. But we should be, in the coming laps here, be anticipating some green flag pit stops out here this evening. Who is the first one to hit the horn and come down onto pit road? They have to go to at least 102 to be safe, 103 to be safe, barring any late race cautions, of course, or green white checkers. We do have three attempts at them out here this evening if they are needed. Gary Bowman currently under fire from Matt Semple in the number 16. Brad Holmes actually has the freshest tires of anybody out on track, with the exception of Brad Collins. But Brad Holmes last pitted on lap number 76, so has a little bit of extra gas in that tank for the 0-0. Literally and figuratively, that's what I meant to say, for the 0-0. He's going to be able to maybe run it a little bit longer than these drivers. Perhaps we see an issue getting onto pit road. We haven't seen green flag pit stops out here tonight, so that's a great unknown. If you stay out, you get a caution in the middle of it, you could very well set yourself up to become the race leader on the next restart. But that pays a price. If you stay out, you're going to be losing. I mean, we were talking earlier, you're going to be losing probably 2, maybe 3 seconds a lap with as much wear as we've been seeing out here tonight. But Mike Stiverson, battle now heating up for third place, takes a look down underneath the 49 of Jason Raymond. Jason Raymond trying to protect the outside lane there, and so far going to be able to do it. What does Gary Bowman do? Who does Gary Bowman go with? Gary Bowman's going to slot down onto the inside lane, following the tire tracks of the number 20. That's going to allow Mike Stiverson to make the pass on Jason Raymond, as we see a couple of drivers beginning to make their way down onto pit road. Lee Campbell's on pit road, Logan Spencer's on pit road, Jaden Wicks is on pit road. So this very well could be the start of the sequence here. Maybe a little bit of smoke back there. Teammates Andrew Caldwell and Nathan Dufton, they make their way onto pit road as well. Thought I saw a little bit of smoke. Maybe it was just a tire lockup, but Brad Holmes takes a look down underneath Gary Bowman here, halfway down the backstretch. Waiting to see here. Let's take a look. Let's go on board. Not this time for Arie Heinzman. Not this time for Cody Gibson. Not this time for Mike Stuyvesant. So the top three, they're going to stay out as they run right now. And I don't know if they're seeing what I'm seeing. Probably not. But if they saw what I saw, I may stay out and wait for a caution, because there's a whole lot of groups of drivers out here as we see 2 and 3 wide racing all over this 1.5 mile track. That very well could bring out an incident yellow here if one driver makes a mistake. But Arie Heinzman down onto pit road, the race leader. Cody Gibson stays out on track. Mike Stuyvesant stays out on track. Brad Holmes stays out on track. Arie Heinzman, the lone driver to come down on pit road on lap number 104. That puts her right on the edge of the fuel window. I don't love that, but I do love having the extra lap that she's going to be running 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds faster than those drivers that are staying out right now. But expect to see Cody Gibson come down onto pit road this time, and yes, he does. Cody Gibson going to be bringing a train of cars behind him. Mike Stuyvesant on pit road, Jason Raymond on pit road, and whoever's behind him. Gary Bowman also going to be on pit road out here. So now, where is Arie Heinzman? Arie Heinzman currently exiting pit road. Looks like a clean and green stop for that number 28. Don't see any issues with speeding or penalties for that 28. So now Brad Holmes comes on pit road. Oh, Brad Holmes sideways on the entry to pit road. Take a quick look here at Brad as he makes his way onto pit road. What happens to him? Any sort of contact or just a brake lockup? It's like it's just going to be a brake lockup, and he's going to go around. No damage on that 0-0, but that certainly doesn't help the case for Mr. Holmes. New race leader through this round of pit stops. Matt Semple, Tanner Marr, Chris Mackey. That's the top three. Matt Semple comes on pit road this time. Tanner Marr is going to inherit the race lead through that. Arie Heinzman has made her way in front of Cody Gibson, and that's that little dot up there. That's the difference that 1 lap of fuel and 1 lap of better tires even will give you on speed. As we take a look at the last time by. Let's see. We don't use this too much. Let's see if this shows us the pit times. It does not. That's not what we were looking for. But Arie Heinzman has opened up about a second lead over Cody Gibson. They're currently running 9th and 10th on track. Chris Mackey, Carl Cantonis, Greg Mitchell. That's currently the 3 race leaders. Through this round of pit stops, we still expect to see the top 7 drivers, Chris Mackey all the way down to Eric Anderson, have to come back down onto pit road at least one more time. But you can see the difference that this has. You can see how this has kind of opened up the field a little bit. The leader's in there somewhere, and the leader right now at the start-finish line, you see the orange dot that says number 13 on it. That is Carl Cantonis, the current race leader, down here to turn number 1, and he's going to have some fresh tires coming behind him. Andrew Caldwell's coming behind him. Mike Stuyvesant's not going to be too far back. Gary Bowman also going to be in the hunt for it as well. Carl Cantonis going to come down onto pit road this time by, but the battle for the race lead is going to be between the 28 and the 1 by the time the top 3, Greg Mitchell, Carl Cantonis, and Eric Anderson, make their way down onto pit road as we approach 25 laps to go in tonight's event. All right, taking a look at the last couple of lap times here for Cody Gibson and Arie Heinzman. Arie Heinzman last time by with a 31.05. Cody Gibson with a 30.92. So about a tenth, anywhere from a tenth and a half to 0.08 of a second slower for Arie Heinzman. Cody Gibson is a little bit faster at the moment, as now they finally re-inherited the race lead out here. That time by Cody Gibson was about a tenth and a half faster than Arie Heinzman. Now, of course, Cody's picking up some draft here from the 28, right? This is not the true tale of the story, but regardless, any way you slice it, about a tenth and a half faster, and I think we're going to see a little bit of an increase in that here on lap number 111. Yeah, that time by another 0.157 seconds advantage to Cody Gibson here. And you can see the gap just closing now down almost within 0.3 of a second for the race lead between Cody Gibson and Arie Heinzman as they make their way down here into turns number 3 and 4, the south end of the Speedway. This is shaping up to be a great battle here with just over 20 laps remaining. Arie Heinzman, Cody Gibson, and Mike Stiverson currently the top 3. You got to go back 4 seconds in line before you find the battle for 4th. But great battle heating up. We're about to see in the next lap or two a battle for the race lead between the Toyota Tundra and the Chevy Silverado. Between the 1 and the 28, the battle we've been watching all night long. If the dance rehearsal of what we saw them doing on the backstretch about 30 laps ago is anything what we're about to see, you're going to want to make sure that you're staying tuned for this one, because it's going to be a great last 20 laps out here tonight. Cody Gibson is there. Cody Gibson is now within a truck and a half lane behind Arie Heinzman. And he's there, and he is coming fast. It's only 1 lap difference in tires, but that 1 lap, we've talked about how important tires are all night tonight. What does Cody Gibson have for this number 28 out here as these laps begin to click down tonight from the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network booth here on another wonderful Tuesday night from the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Cody Gibson seems to have kind of held steady pace right now behind Heinzman that time by. They ran the exact same time, 31.64 for both drivers. All right, we are going to keep a super close eye on the battle for the race lead. We're going to kind of go around out here, Tanner Marr, in a little group of 4 or 5 trucks back here, currently battling Brad Holmes, Jared Anderson, Brian Dorsey, and Matt Semple in this little group of drivers back here. This is a battle for, I guess we'll call this about the 8th place running position. Brian Dorsey having a great run out here tonight, solidly running up inside the top 10. Brad's going to take a look down to the inside of Brian Dorsey and try to take a spot away from that Ford F-150. Not going to be able to do so just yet, but Tanner Marr takes a look and tries to put a nose there and potentially think about making it 3 wide. But as one of the better battles going out on track right now, Andrew Caldwell also under fire from Ed Jurgen. Ed was actually, so very transparently, Ed was my pick to win out here tonight. I rolled the dice and I said, I think the 92 will be competitive out here tonight. And Ed has been competitive at times and currently runs in the 7th place, started 3rd on the board out here tonight. For Ed as he runs and now makes the pass and runs in 6th with a little help from Casey Tomlinson. Other battles happening out here, Brad Collins and Chris Mackey. Again, last week's winner at Echo Park. He's going to make his way around the 67 of Brad Collins without much pressure or much to do. for that driver, the number 17, as he looks to continue his playoff hopes. Out here, clicking back a little bit, Leroy Koblenz involved in an incident at the end of lap number 25 to conclude stage number 1. Currently runs in 18th. Got that truck looking pretty good after what it looked like. Kind of surprised that Leroy was able to continue in that truck, but looks fairly good for Leroy out here so far. 18th, running right in front of his teammate, Andy Cork. All right, we promised we were going to keep an eye on the race lead. That battle for the race lead has actually opened up a little bit. Arie Heinzman has opened up almost 0.7 of a second difference between herself and Cody Gibson in second place. And that is the difference between first and second right now. Arie Heinzman has control of this race with 14 laps remaining. Going to be 13. That time by Tanner Marr trying to make some hay over Brad Holmes. This is currently for the 9th place position. They're both chasing down Matt Semple, not too far out in front. See Matt Semple directly out in front of Tanner Marr here. Here's just a little bit of throttle play with the 4. Hearing him get out of the throttle just a little bit on corner entry here. Let's take a ride on board here with Brad Holmes. Actually, let's do Matt Semple here. Thought Brad was a little bit closer to Tanner than he was, but pretty similar throttle. Maybe a little bit longer off throttle time for Matt Semple here than Tanner Marr. Let's take another listen here as we go down into turn number 1. Yeah, I would say that's a little bit longer off throttle time for Matt Semple there than it is Tanner. But Tanner, last time by, those two drivers ran almost identical lap times here. But Andrew Caldwell starting to slide back just a little bit. Andrew pitted on lap number 101, was one of the first cars to come down kind of before the main pack of cars came down. Andrew is about 3 or 4 tenths a lap slower than everybody directly behind him. Now the good news for Andrew is that he's really only got 5 or 6 trucks within striking distance of him of the end of this race here. He's got Brian Dorsey that's just under 3 seconds back, and Jared Anderson is about 4 seconds back of Andrew Caldwell. I don't know that Jared will, assuming this runs green, I don't know that that Jared Anderson will have the opportunity to get there. So the possibility to lose maybe 3 or 4 more spots for Andrew Caldwell certainly on the table out here this evening. But back up front, Arie Heinzman continues to lead the race as we're going to see 8 laps to go this time by. Cody Gibson comes in here tonight looking to secure his first championship of his career in Cyber Thunder Racing League. Comes into tonight 3rd in points, so it looks like he's going to have another great points night out here. Tanner Marr came in here 2nd in points, has a solid top 10 going for that number 4 machine. And Greg Mitchell, involved in an earlier incident out here tonight, has managed to somehow continue on, but kind of a lackluster evening for that number 55. The points leader as they enter into tonight currently runs 15th. Now Greg came in here probably about 40 points above Tanner and about 45 points in front of Cody Gibson. So I don't think this will be a drop in the season in the first place in points run out here tonight for Greg Mitchell. But as we move on to our playoffs here, next week we've got Watkins Glen, followed by Auto Club Speedway North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, Charlotte Roval, and then Talladega. Can't have too many more of these before we begin the playoffs here in about another month and a half. Cody Gibson chasing down Arie Heinzman here as we see 5 laps to go. The high 5 over Kansas Speedway out here this evening. And see if Cody is able to chase down Arie Heinzman here. Let's switch over to last lap time. Last time by, Cody Gibson was about 3/100ths of a second faster. That's not going to be enough. I don't believe. That's really not going to be enough for Cody Gibson to get there. Take a look at the times this time by. And that time Arie Heinzman was about 7/1000ths of a second faster, so advantage to the 28, but you see Cody Gibson using multiple lines on the speedway right now, trying to find anything that he possibly can here as these laps continue to wind down. As we see just about 5.5 miles of racing to go out here tonight. Arie Heinzman makes her return to the track. Last season's champion turned broadcaster. Looking to get back into victory lane out here tonight. Continue the winning ways for that number 28 truck. Mike Stiverson currently runs in 3rd. Great night going for him. Jason Raymond. Jason currently runs in 5th. And Gary Bowman rounds out the top 5 as they run right now. This time by, we're going to see popsicle sticks over the speedway. 2 laps remaining. Halfway down the backstretch, Arie Heinzman needs to see the white flag. If we see the white flag, the next flag will end the race. We will not get a caution if that is the case, but field's going to be coming out of turn number 4 to see the white flag. Barney's going to send us down. 1.5 miles of racing to go out here this evening. I was talking to Arie earlier this week, and she said, Tom, I feel like I left something on the table at Nashville. I feel like I could have won that race. I feel like I should have won that race. And I'm going for broke out here tonight at Kansas. And tonight, Arie Heinzman starts 4th in the qualifying efforts, but going to make her way to victory lane out here tonight and take a win for the broadcasters on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Congratulatory bumps being given by a friend and maybe former teammate, Cody Gibson. Mike Stiverson comes home in 3rd. Gary Bowman, the popular win here for Arie Heinzman. See Jason Raymond coming up and saying, good job, hey, glad to see you. Matt Semple comes up and says, nice work out here tonight. Tanner Marr making his way up. The entire field, you better watch out here, Arie. But Arie's going to begin the donuts out here this evening and begin the celebration for this win here tonight. All right, well, we're doing this a little bit backwards out here tonight. I wanted to get the big race winner first. Actually, I just moved into the wrong room, Arie, but hey, that works too. Arie, you come out here. You're only running 2 races in the trucks this season. One of them is a win. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tom. Oh my God, holy, I feel on top of the world right now. I am sweating so much. I tell you what, I've got to give the the biggest shout out in the whole world to driver of the #1 Cody Gibson, because that was the hardest fought win of my entire sim racing career, by quite a bit. I don't know how much of the battles that you caught on the broadcast, but that was some of the closest, most intense racing I've ever had, and he pushed me from start to finish. So that was phenomenal. This is my best win.
We saw a whole lot of them, and there was a lot of bumper tag at one point, maybe about 40-50 laps ago going on, and then you shot down pit road first. Cody started to close up maybe within a tenth and a half, maybe 2/10 right behind you there with about 15 laps to go. How much were you worried about that 1 lap difference on tires there?
I had it in mind the whole run, and even before the pit stop, I figured it was going to be me with 1 lap newer because he would try to undercut me. That's why I came in first. I was trying to come in as soon as the window opened so that I didn't give him the opportunity, because I figured it's a track position kind of race, a track position kind of track, and it was really weird that it turned into a bottom track today. Kansas is usually a lot more up top and maybe a little bit of both, but the top line just really wasn't there at all, at least with the setup. So we all kind of had to adapt to it, and it took us a little bit, but he had those new tires. He was coming, and I was driving this truck for all it's worth, just in my mind thinking, I've just got to last long enough, because with every lap that goes by that he hasn't caught me, it's going to be harder for him to get through that dirty air. So it was just a matter of going as far as I could before he did get close enough so that he couldn't do anything. And it turns out it worked that way. And as soon as I saw him start experimenting on the high side, I knew I just had to keep doing my thing, and it was going to be good.
So now you and I, we've talked about, so you're running 2 races this season, champion turned broadcaster. You're running 2 races this season. And you told me a couple of, maybe earlier this week, you were like, man, I ran Nashville and I just left something out there. How much more special is this one being one of only 2 races and bringing home a win?
Well, I think it's a lot more special for a lot of ways. As you mentioned, it being one of only 2 opportunities this season, and I went out to Nashville. I was feeling good. I had been undefeated at that track in Cyber up to that point, and I just kind of shot myself in the foot with strategy there, and got myself behind, and it didn't work out. So coming out here, I felt the pressure in practice and in qualifying. The fact that it was my last shot for Tuesday for this season, my only other chance I was going to get to put my name on the board. And I felt that all the way through, and I was definitely doubting myself at times when I saw how off the pace I was in practice for most of the time. And it all came together, but man, I had to fight so much for that.
Well, congratulations once again, Arie. Going to open up the floor for you. Any hays and highs and hellos that you want to say out here watching you take the victory out here tonight? The floor is all yours, my friend.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to you, Tom, for carrying the broadcast all alone. Hope we put on a good show. I was telling Corey and Amanda and Philip and them earlier in the race, I was like, guys, this is the best race of the season. I can't wait to watch this broadcast. So that's going to be a good one. Shout out to you for doing that. Shout out to everyone at home who's watching, all of the drivers who show up and make this league go round. It's the best group of racers out there in terms of racecraft and just how well we get along, and it's a great time. So shout out to everyone who shows up, makes it possible. Shout out to Cody for a good race. Shout out to Mike for the big upset in the tournament, by the way, with the 3rd place. That's awesome to see. I got grandparents watching as always. I got my buddy Chad watching. So shout out to all you guys. And I'm still racing on Thursdays. Got some more wins to collect over on Thursdays if I can. But it's nice to be back on top for a Tuesday race.
Well, congratulations. Here, you know what, say, Arie, this is kind of unconventional here, but why don't we have, it's going to be a little weird, why don't we have you interview the 2nd place finisher, Cody Gibson?
All right, I've been thrown on the hot seat. I'm interviewing 2nd place finisher Cody Gibson today, driver of the 1. I was just telling Tom, Cody, that this race was the hardest fought win I've had in my entire sim racing career. Like I've never worn myself out more, fought harder than I did in this race. So it was a great battle. It was a good run, and yeah, just walk me through your race and kind of through your mindset.
Well, it was a hard fought for, I think, both of us trying to get back to the front after them. A few drivers stayed out, and me and you battling trying to get back up front because clean air meant everything. I think we had about the same pace, and just whoever was out front was going to hold it. So I thought about pitting before you did, but I was like, maybe the tires will come in at the end, but they didn't. I was trying the high side, low side, middle, and it was just same pace.
Yeah, I felt like we were pretty equally matched that whole time, and it was going to come down to track position at the end of the day. So I was doing absolutely everything I could, and then some to try and hold on to the lead. And I figured you were going to try and undercut me that whole time. I was anticipating it. So as soon as I felt comfortable on fuel, I was like, I don't care. I'm pulling it down. I don't I don't want to be undercut.
Yeah, you chopped my nose off a few times.
This is what I was hoping to hear. All right, let's talk more about that.
It felt like some good hard race. I think at the end of the day, this is a product of the what the truck does in terms of its racing product on these bigger tracks when you're kind of just in these like pseudo pack racing, kind of drafting games where, I mean, we even saw it with I forget who it was. I want to say Jaden Wicks or whoever, but on one restart going down into turn one, I was clear on the apron because we're all just racing for the bottom line just to just to get the clean air. So I think in a lot of ways it's a product of the racing, but it was definitely like there's definitely like you're not gonna, I feel like, go out there and win a bunch if you're not trying to figure out what you can do with the air.
Yeah, I mean, I know how you race. You're going to air block. So that's why I went up to the top and I was like, okay, I gained a tenth. Then I'd lose it in 3 and 4. Gain it back on the top in 1 and 2. And I was like, I cannot stick on the bottom because I done wore my tires out trying to high line. So I just pretty much gave up and trying to keep Mike from catching me, basically.
Well, I think it was a great race. I was surprised to see Mike was running about as fast as we were back there. He just had the 4-second disadvantage. I'll tell you what though, Cody, I'm only here for these one-offs, but you are racing for a championship this season, and you are I think by far and away the driver with the most momentum, especially with Greg having another down race today. So I mean, we're about to go into the second half of the season. You got to be feeling pretty good about your speed.
I do. I mean, it sucks for him. Whatever he got involved in, I hate to see that. I mean, I want a good, hard fought all through the season. I mean, it sucks if anybody in top 5 gets in trouble, and it just ruins their momentum, gets them down, and it's hard to fight back when you got constantly like the top 5 always finishing pretty good. So one bad race can, kind of sacrifice a few points that you actually need at the end. But with this new playoff system we have with the, I don't even know what you call it, first time I ever done it, but it's going to be interesting. And just think I'm sponsoring is it the redemption round?
That is correct. Yes, the redemption race at Michigan.
Yeah, that was totally by accident, but hopefully I can finish in the same spot on the race I sponsor.
There you go. Also, you sponsored tonight's race, so good to see you on the podium. I guess we'll, unless Tom has anything else, we'll open the floor for any shout-outs and thank yous you want to give.
Oh, just my teammates over here at Five Kings, Tanner, Mackey, Raymond, Larry Bell. I seen he got in trouble early, which is so unfortunate for him. He seems like he gets all caught up in everybody else's myths. It just really sucks for him. But of course, Chop House Restoration, all your roofing needs there in Georgia. So thank you, and maybe next time I'll have something for you when you return back to the track.
Guess we'll see. Good run, Cody.
Thank you.
All right, kicking Cody Gibson out of here, and got third place finisher out here tonight, Mr. Stuyvesant, the quiet driver out here tonight. Started 19th on the board. Texted me an hour ago. He said, I don't even know if I'm coming, but tonight you come home with a podium finish. First one of the season for driver number 20. Mike, congratulations. How was your evening?
It was pretty odd at the beginning, no practice and jumping in right before qualifying, but pretty good. I'm comfortable here in the trucks. I always have. I had pretty good long run speed. I got comfortable through that first run. It was just looking forward and coming to the front.
Yeah, Mike, you come in here tonight. You come in 13th in the standings. I got to imagine a couple of drivers in front of you: Rick Thompson, Lee Campbell, Matt Semple. I know Lee had an early exit from tonight's race. This very well could point you up to the top 10 in the points, which is where you need to be to move into the Scrambler Series at the end of the next 7 races or so. What's your path forward, and how do you approach these next 6 or 7 races? I mean, we got some wild cards in there. We got North Wilkesboro. We got we got the Charlotte Roval in there. Like, how do you feel about your chances of making these playoffs here?
Yeah, up until this point, it's been trying to get stage points, right? Just trying to get in the wild card because I had a rough beginning of the season. But I mean, surprise, guys! I think we forget sometimes. I do have 12 wins in Cyber. It's not like I'm slow. I do have the speed to run up here with these guys. I've just got to put it together. So get me in the top 10. I may just dig some claws in and stay.
You dig some claws in the clay, and well, we'll see how it plays out. And you know, once we get to the Scrambler Series, you know, it's kind of anybody's game from there, Mike. But you come home tonight in a solid podium finish out here tonight. We're gonna open the floor for you. Any hays and highs you want to say hello to? I think you got Beth maybe watching you out here tonight. Floor is all yours.
Well, as always, I mean, I love her to death. Elizabeth, I love you. I got to say thanks to you, Tom, and Arie on normal nights, but not tonight. But thanks to you two for broadcasting. It makes it 1,000 times better being able to go back and watch these things. And probably most importantly, every single driver that comes out here and shows up every week. Would we have 35 take the green flag tonight? None of this would be any fun without those guys on track, every single one of them. And no point in doing it without them. So big thanks to everybody that runs in Cyber.
Absolutely, and you know, 7 years strong, Cyber Thunder's been throwing green flags and checkered flags, and been glad to do it here with you. And you come away with another podium finish out here on the evening. Mike, congratulations once again, and well, I'm sure we'll be debriefing your race out here tonight. Congrats.
Appreciate it.
All right, and that is your podium finishers out here tonight as the drivers begin to make their way out of Kansas Speedway. And Arie's still in here with me, so I guess Arie, you know, congratulations once again. And now you're out of the truck for the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be you and I together all the way through championship night here on the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series.
That's right, and I tell you what, Tom, the relief of knowing that I went out and I made at least one of the two count, but before I was out of the truck for the rest of the season, that's pretty big. So I'll be able to call all of these races for the rest of the season, knowing I was able to go out there and kind of, you know, put the 28 on top in one of my goes. So that feels pretty good, and I'm ready to see who's gonna step up and be our champion this season.
Well, let's take a look at the finishing results out here this evening as the field of 35 trucks makes their way out of Kansas Speedway. Again, race sponsored by Cody Gibson. Second place finisher out here tonight, Mike Stiverson, finishes third on the board. That's our podium finishers that we just spoke to. Gary Bowman finishes fourth, followed by Jason Raymond. Jason, biggest mover of the night, up 27 spots when all is said and done for Jason Raymond. Matt Semple, Ed Jurgen, Tanner Marr, Andrew Caldwell, and Brad Holmes comes home in 10th.
Brian Dorsey brings us home in 11th, ahead of Greg Mitchell in 12th. Chris Mackey, driver of the 17, comes home in 13th, ahead of Carl Cantonis. Jared Anderson in 15th. Lee Campbell in 16th, followed by Leroy Koblenz in 17th. Andy Cork, Jackie Brennan, and Brad Collins round out our top 20.
21st on back, going to be Mr. Philip Van Vliet, involved in an earlier incident out here tonight. Finishes one lap down, right in front of Logan Spencer. Casey Tomlinson has a pretty good run in 23rd, one lap down. Jaden Wicks, after leading a few laps, comes home in 24th, followed by Nathan Dufton in that number 47 Toyota Tundra. Eric Anderson, a couple of ups and downs moments for that number 43 out here tonight for Eric. Rick Thompson, that number 76. David Gainforth, Paxton Frith, and Steven Music is the top 30.
Amanda Sherman comes home just outside of the top 30, followed by Theodore Todorov in 32nd, Corey Sherman in 33rd, Dwayne Young 34th, and shotgun on the field, Larry Bell in the 05.
Well, that is our field of 35 drivers finishing out tonight's race at Kansas Speedway. Arie, what do you say? I think you're going to go celebrate this win. This one's going to be a little bit more special, but as these drivers move on to the upcoming races, we've got Watkins Glen next week. We've got Auto Club in 2 weeks, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham, Charlotte, Roval, Talladega. So we've kind of got a mix of short tracks, road courses, and even super speedways thrown in there right before the playoffs.
I love it when the schedule gets mixed up, all nice and good. So, you know, I'll be ready. I'll be looking forward to each and every one of those races.
Yes, we will, and I certainly will as well. And next week, Arie and I will be on the broadcast together. Hey, if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure that you click that like button, get subscribed, get notified every single time we go live. We're going to be live tomorrow night from Martinsville Speedway, from the Paperclip. I've got some hot dogs stuffed up in my pocket. I'm ready to go for those Martinsville hot dogs. But hey, here from the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, congratulations once again to Arie Heinzman on the win out here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on a Tuesday night. We will see you next week.